Homage to fundamental teacher Buddha Shakyamuni. Homage to wisdom warrior Manjushri. Homage to all lineage benevolent masters. The Dharma, infinitely profound and subtle, is rarely encountered even in 1,000,000 eons. Now we are able to hear, study, and follow it. May we fully realize Tathagata's true meaning. In order to liberate all sentient beings from samsara, generate supreme bodhicitta. Now we continue studying the words of my perfect teacher. This treatise, the words of my perfect teacher, has incredibly rich content for us to study. It is truly a vast undertaking. For me personally, to be able to teach this treatise completely, I believe should be the most important great deed in this lifetime. For all of you, I hope everyone will listen to the complete teachings. If you didn't listen well to the earlier parts, it's best to receive the complete teachings now through recordings and books. For the later sections, I think as long as everyone has faith and determination, there should be no problem. So I hope completing one Dharma teaching for a person's lifelong practice also has great significance. At the same time, when we receive teachings here, everyone must focus their minds. It's best to listen attentively with joy and reverence. If you really don't have such faith, your conduct must still be proper. If your conduct is improper, then listening to the Dharma is useless. The Buddha also taught in the sutras, do not teach Dharma to the disrespectful. Don't teach Dharma to disrespectful people. What's been explained here is that listening to Dharma is voluntary. If you have reverence and joy, you may listen. If you don't have reverence, you're not allowed to listen. The Dharma cannot be taught. The Dharma friends in our academy, through years of study and contemplation, everyone's habits, tendencies, and conduct are all very proper. But I've also noticed that a very few people from the cities, sometimes during the process of listening to Dharma, their conduct is not quite proper. Without anything happening, they just go out randomly, going to the bathroom, making phone calls, receiving messages, or eating food. During Dharma listening at most, if you're really thirsty, drinking a little water is acceptable, but it's best to pay attention during the process of listening to Dharma. Besides this, all worldly activities should be put aside. This is what I think. Although people in the cities have busy lives with many complications, but we teach one class for at most 1 hour. In 1 hour, if you can't turn off your phone or quiet your mind, then what kind of career can this person actually accomplish? That would mean studying Dharma has become merely a formality. So in the future, no matter what class you're listening to, you must listen to this one class properly. Don't just make a show of it, coming today, not coming tomorrow. Or during one class, coming for the first half, not coming for the second half. This kind of phenomenon shows an attitude of not taking karma seriously. I hope that in the future, listening to Dharma must be done properly. Many of our current behaviors need to be gradually corrected. I think most people are very good. Previously, when I went to cities to teach others, many people's behavior was particularly discouraging, making my heart very sad. But now, thanks to the power of internet and recordings, many people's basic dignity and conduct for listening to Dharma have become proper, but there are still some minor issues. These are also problems during the process of listening to Dharma by very few people. Some might be caused by not understanding. Some, although they understood before, have forgotten in the meantime. Some develop certain afflictions in between, caused by various conditions. No matter what, our listening to Dharma must certainly be proper. Today we study the section on results in the Karma and Cause-Effect chapter of the words of my perfect teacher. Among the results, we've already covered the ripening result and the concordant result. These two results of the 10 negative actions have been completed. Today we discuss the third one, the environmental result. The environmental result actually means that whether one performs virtuous or evil deeds, especially here, speaking of evil deeds, when someone commits evil deeds in the future in their surrounding environment, this karmic result will ripen. Of course, this doesn't mean that this karma necessarily ripens upon earth, water, fire, and wind. It's not that meaning. This person's karmic force has a certain effect on the environment. For example, when worldly people break the law after breaking the law, this group of lawbreakers, their negative karma forms a prison, so to speak, 100 or 200 people confined in prison. This group of people their evil karma manifests as such an environment. It's not saying that if I kill someone today, then the karma of killing ripens upon the external prison environment, on the prison walls, the entire buildings. It's not this meaning. It's just that my mental continuum has a certain relationship with the environment. Everyone must understand this. The Ekottara Agama also says, due to the foundation of the 10 negative actions, external things deteriorate. How much more so internal dharmas? Because we have committed the 10 negative actions, external materials and external environments experience some deterioration or exhaustion. If external environments have become this way, then internal aspects, such as mental power, including bodily illness, these are even more needless to say. Therefore, generally speaking, the collective karma of sentient beings transforms the external environment into another kind of world. When we study the treasury of Abhidharma, at the beginning, previously sentient beings were like those in the form realm. Initially, all sentient beings in this world were like the gods of the form realm with natural crops. Everything was complete, but later, because we became attached to the earth's essence and worldly wealth, at this time our minds gradually deteriorated, and after deteriorating, the natural conditions of the external environment also gradually worsened. This is a kind of mutual correspondence and interaction. For instance, when a person's mind experiences great suffering, then in their realm of experience, the external environment also becomes particularly ugly. This is also a natural law. So here, when discussing environmental results, we mainly speak of retribution ripening in the external environment. You must understand this. It's not upon earth, water, fire, and wind, but for people connected to the external environment. The example I just gave should be appropriate. My karmic force creates this kind of corresponding relationship with the external environment. Here it says that those who commit killing are reborn in environments that are not beautiful, or are reborn in deep valleys, dangerous places, and other locations that threaten life. One is unbeautiful environments, particularly filthy places or deep valleys, cliffs and roads that are extremely dangerous, always posing threats to your life, being reborn in such particularly dangerous zones, committing the evil deed of taking what is not given. One is reborn where crops suffer long-term attacks from frost and hail, and where trees don't bear fruit, where famine occurs constantly. This is taking what is not given. I see that in some places now. Various disasters frequently occur, either drought or hailstorms. A while ago, because of some students' schooling matters, I had dealings with some farmers, and during our interactions, one farmer said that in their area, for unknown reasons every year, when the crops are most mature, hailstorms occur. For many years they basically haven't harvested any grain. Hailstorms occur every year, so sometimes the collective karma of this group of sentient beings manifest in this way. Indeed, we must think about these kinds of karmic conditions. Why is it that some people, for example, wealthy people in China now, all live in villa districts? The environment is so good, and all aspects of conditions are similarly excellent. Why is this? It's because this group of people's collective karma has manifested. Some people, especially in rural areas, some farmers, they always live in broken small earthen houses. The surrounding environment is equally filthy, and various conditions and circumstances are particularly immature. What is the reason for this? This is the manifestation of the collective karma from the evil deeds this group of people committed in the past. So, this cause and effect relationship, I often think when I arrive at a good environment, oh, these people indeed practiced the 10 virtuous actions in the past. Such happiness is worth rejoicing. Naturally, my mind thinks this way. Sometimes when I see particularly bad environments at this time, I naturally think again, this group of sentient beings, this is the ripening of their collective karma. This is how it should be understood. Those who commit sexual misconduct live in places that are foul-smelling cesspits or places with unbearably filthy mud and so forth, disgusting places. They are all situated in such places. Now, near particularly prosperous cities, there are also some farmers in remote places. They often live in particularly unsanitary environments. This is also their collective karma manifesting. The collective karma of past sexual misconduct manifesting. There's no way around it. Even in one place, some people might live in courtyards or houses that are very comfortable, while some people, why do they always have to live next to toilets? The houses are very unsanitary in all aspects. What's the reason? This definitely has a certain relationship with their past lives. This is what we often see in various situations, some people's environments. Also, telling lies will result in rebirth in environments where wealth fluctuates unpredictably, and the mind is also often anxious and restless, always encountering some frightening obstacles. This refers to lying. Those who lie don't have a relatively stable environment. People nowadays often say their lives are unstable. For example, some people's wages cannot guarantee their entire livelihood. Today, working here, tomorrow working there. The environment brings him much inconvenience, but there's no way around it. He himself feels no sense of security. Often his mind is in a state of anxiety and extreme fear, especially the place where you're reborn brings you. Always a feeling of psychological imbalance and insecurity. This is also related to your past life karma. Creating the evil karma of divisive speech will result in rebirth on cliffs, steep precipices, deep valleys, and narrow gorges where it's difficult to walk. I often see in Tibet, sometimes in places I visit below, there's river water. Above there are cliffs with a path in between. Walking is very difficult. Driving is also very difficult. The people living there looking up, they only see the sky. Looking down below, they only see river water. Besides this, there's nothing else. Even when drawing water, it looks very dangerous, but they themselves don't feel it. They think, oh, we can live here for a lifetime just fine. Actually, when we who have seen people from other places, oh, the people here are really pitiful and in danger, we have this feeling. Also, those who speak harsh words are reborn. In places with scattered rocks and thorny undergrowth that disturb one's peace of mind. Those who speak harsh words, the mountains everywhere are rocks with no real greenery. Looking at the Lhasa area, some mountains are indeed like this. Although Lhasa's Patala Palace and Sami, many holy places that we deeply yearn for, but there, especially going to Ngari and some places near Sakya, many particularly barren places, the mountains appear completely bare. Not a blade of grass grows. Many mountains are not like other places with particularly good greenery, forests. None of these exist. So often after arriving there, one also feels, alas, the people here still have some uncommon karmic forces that have summoned this. Naturally, one also thinks of these karmic results, also summoned by the evil karma of idle chatter, future rebirth places. Although one works diligently at farming, in the end, there's not a grain of harvest. Also, seasons are unpredictable and unstable. In some places, although these farmers, these people in rural areas, work hard for an entire year, but in the end, there's not a grain of harvest. That day I, again, met a farmer. I asked, how is the crop situation in your area? He said, we work very hard in 1 year. Indeed, we put in tremendous effort, but after threshing all the crops from our fields in winter, after all threshing is complete, basically, our family's livelihood can... So-called livelihood means only having enough grain to eat. Besides this, we can't even sell a bit of grain, so working extremely hard for a year, some farmers really, this is also their collective karma manifesting. We all know some lay practitioners, some monastics may not have been herders or farmers before. If you encounter some herders and farmers, including their livelihood, their complexion, and their entire living places, the work they do every day, if analyzed in detail, sentient beings' karma is indeed different. On one hand, their own wisdom and abilities may also have certain differences. On the other hand, the places where they're reborn, the environment still has a certain control over them. This control should be attributed to past life karma. So we people here present cannot be particularly dissolute. We must have confidence in virtuous Dharma. Otherwise, in the future, people who don't care about themselves at all, intelligent people wouldn't do this, should not. If it's like this, then in my future lives being reborn in particularly ugly or filthy places, I think there's no such necessity. Summoned by greed, Future birthplaces will have barren crops, harsh seasons, and endless suffering. This is summoned by greed everywhere, just like some places in Africa, including their families and children. When you see them, basically they have no clothes to wear, and the crops planted in the fields basically don't grow. Various diseases and many wars. Various obstacles appear in those particularly remote places. What does harmful intent lead to? Rebirth in places of many disasters and difficulties, like Afghanistan in the past, and places that often experience like Iran, Iraq, we also often see through various different media and news either famine occurs here or war breaks out there, not just once or twice, but continuously happening frequently every year. Also, with the evil karma of wrong views, one is reborn in places with scarce resources, helpless and utterly alone. If wrong views were particularly severe in the past, the places where they're reborn have no fruits, no vegetables, inconvenient transportation, nothing. Now in this world, some remote places, indeed fruits have to be obtained from very far away. Buying 1 pound of fruit costs so much money, extremely painful. Even buying some things, including water resources, mineral resources, sources of survival, nothing exists. In those places there are thorn trees, poisonous plants, bad things, various conditions that are not beneficial to human life naturally come together. Such places are now particularly numerous. When people in those places see a fruit, it's like encountering a wish-fulfilling jewel. Everyone desperately crowds around. This exists now, it might be slightly better. Previously, in the Northeast, I heard that basically there were no fruits. Bought from the South, they particularly envied Southern people because Southern people have relatively abundant living resources. The 10 negative actions have many, many more results. Even now, including some people who show no interest in the Dharma when listening to teachings I saw in the Great Collection Sutra. The Great Collection Sutra was taught by the Buddha 16 years after his enlightenment, a Dharma teaching primarily on the 6 paramitas and emptiness. It's a particularly excellent sutra, and this sutra also says, those who commit the 10 negative actions have little merit and no offerings. The taste of Dharma is not pure and thick, and the mind practicing Dharma is also weak. Those who have committed the 10 negative actions often have no merit and cannot receive any offerings or donations from others, especially after you hear the Dharma. You feel no taste of the Dharma at all. For example, when a Dharma teacher, a guru, or when you read a Dharma text, you cannot feel its flavor at all. Also, during your practice and application of Dharma, your mind's power is extremely weak. This is also the result of committing the 10 negative actions in the past. Why is it that some of us I saw the day before yesterday, and this reminded me of this matter. I saw some Dharma friends among those who memorize. They can memorize this, and that treatise they can also memorize. They can also take written exams and oral exams, and when they teach, it's not just verbal teaching. Indeed, this Dharma has already merged with their own minds. They have completely felt the taste of the Dharma themselves. What is this? This is, without asking anyone, it should be the result of practicing the 10 virtuous actions in the past. Very few of us might feel envious in our hearts, very much wanting this, but then wrong views cover it up. It doesn't work, then the body doesn't work, then the mood is bad, various aspects. When the mood is bad, the external world changes, becomes bad. Then one generates anger toward this Dharma friend and anger toward that Dharma friend. I think I mentioned this before. About 10 years ago, I was receiving medical treatment in a southern place. There was a nurse who was unhappy every day. Then a head nurse said she's unhappy for a reason. Some people didn't call her. I said others didn't call her. Why is she so angry at me every day? Every day when she gave me injections, she would jab that needle. Swoosh. Her behavior was particularly uncomfortable. She vented all her anger on me, and when giving injections, pushing it so that it basically took no more than a few seconds, swish, one sound. Very uncomfortable and frightening, but there was no choice. Sometimes when I think of her face now, I still feel a bit afraid, but there was no choice. So, in her state of mind, I often think indeed this world seems to have become very dark. So the environmental result we just discussed, actually environmental result, a person's psychology and external environment, indeed have a great effect. For example, if you're happy and practice the 10 virtues, the entire environment becomes beautiful and gentle. If your mind is unhappy or in a state of suffering, even if you're in heaven, everything outside becomes ugly. Everything outside becomes an unbeautiful environment. This is what we call environmental result, actually environmental result. For people nowadays, they often commit the 10 negative actions particularly severely. If the 10 negative actions are committed very severely, various disasters will occur frequently. Although now some experts and scientists believe that our current Earth, they think it's in an active period and will definitely have various disasters, but this is caused by their lack of understanding of Buddhist teachings. Actually, if people daily commit killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, and lying, daily creating evil karma, then there's no way to bear it. Natural disasters will naturally appear. Sometimes earthquakes come, sometimes droughts. Look at these past few years. The Great Drought in 5 major provinces, Chile earthquake, Haiti earthquake, Yushu earthquake, Wenchuan earthquake, sometimes floods, sometimes fires, mine collapses. What are all these? It's people daily killing beings, daily creating negative karma. These conditions naturally affect the external environment. Former US Vice President Al Gore received the Nobel Peace Prize a few years ago. He has a book called An Inconvenient Truth. In this book, he discusses how people nowadays do too many bad things, recklessly destroying the environment. This is his viewpoint. But this doesn't involve political and other issues. It must involve issues of people's morality and spiritual environmental protection. He believes our morality and spirituality have a certain relationship with environmental protection. Actually, he can only speak to a part of it, not truly going deep. If people all over the world practice virtue and do many good deeds, I think many disasters, including various disasters in this world, should have ways to be saved, ways to be recovered. But people in the world are like madmen creating the 10 negative actions. The 10 negative actions for each of us, monastics of course needn't be mentioned, but for lay practitioners. Education about the 10 negative actions, indeed education to stop the 10 negative actions, is very important. Once I particularly emphasized to some university and middle school students, and teachers I especially emphasized to them as intellectuals, you must understand the harms of the 10 negative actions and the merits of performing the 10 virtuous actions. If you don't even understand this, then calling yourself an intellectual, calling yourself a teacher, or calling yourself a truly kind person, there's simply no way to discuss it. So now, what's most crucial is in many schools, if there were education based on the Sutra of the Path of the 10 Good Karmas, I think it would be very good. Previously, some Dharma teachers also emphasized this kind of educational method, although I've also looked at the Chinese Sutra of the Path of the 10 Good Karmas. It doesn't explain each of the 10 virtues particularly clearly. It mainly discusses what kind of virtuous or negative results ripen from creating karma. That sutra is also called the Questions of the Naga King, Sagara. In Chinese regions, there are 1 or 2 versions. The content is not much, only 1 volume. It should be studied well. Similar teachings on the 10 virtuous and 10 negative actions must be understood in every school and every family. A while ago, I specifically tested those students and teachers one by one. In the future, I hope students should understand this. If you graduated from university, but can't clearly explain the 10 negative actions, if you don't even understand the 10 negative actions, then becoming a kind person is impossible. So, I hope everyone must not abandon this most crucial education. Next, we discuss the effective result of the 10 negative actions. Actually, the effective result in both Mahayana Abhidharma and Theravada Abhidharma, it's explained that she refers to a person Yong means function or utility. For example, a person who is a merchant, farmer, or worker, each person, through their skills and abilities, does certain things. Farmers do farming work like plowing, carpenters make wooden items. If they're merchants, they engage in commerce. Through their actions, they accomplish these things. Actually, the effective result is also like this. When a person commits negative actions, for example, if I kill, I am the killer. My actions, my body, speech, and mind, when conditions come together, kill other sentient beings. Finally, after cutting their life force, a karmic result ripens. This result is actually something I created. Just like a potter making pottery, from this concept it can be explained. In the words of my perfect teacher, it's not only what the person does, but also the virtuous or evil karma that is performed. If you don't interrupt it, its growth rate is very high. For example, when we deposit money in the bank, perhaps for 1 year or 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, the longer you deposit, the higher your interest. Similarly, when we create negative karma, if you apply antidotes and confess in the short term, the ripened karmic result is not high. If your time is longer, the ripened karma becomes inconceivable. This is roughly the meaning. The so-called effective result means that creating any negative karma will increase day by day, generation after generation, perpetuating endless suffering. Generation after generation, one karma creates countless sufferings. Previously, in the Sutra of 100 Actions, there was a layman who said to the monastics, "You sit in the Dharma hall every day like cripples. I come to make offerings to you every day," and so forth, speaking harsh words. Later, he became a cripple for 500 lives. From such karma, gradually without antidotes, its growth rate is particularly high. It can be said this way: negative karma grows upward more and more. Thereby one will ultimately wander in endless samsara. Creating one negative karma, the final ripened result is inconceivable. This is mainly the effective result. Above, we have already introduced the 10 negative actions. I hope we people here present must first understand the 10 negative actions, then one by one, try your best not to commit the 10 negative actions. Otherwise, the karmic results will definitely ripen. Just like if we eat poison, the result will definitely ripen sooner or later. Next, we discuss the virtuous actions to be practiced. In summary, after understanding the faults of the 10 negative actions, make a firm resolve in your mind to earnestly uphold the vow of refraining from evil actions. After understanding the above, you must uphold the vow of refraining from evil actions. Not committing the 10 negative actions becomes the 10 virtuous actions, that is, not killing, not stealing, and not engaging in sexual misconduct, not speaking lies, harsh words, idle chatter, divisive speech, and not having greed, harmful intent, or wrong views. These are called the 10 virtuous actions. Generally speaking, upholding the 10 virtuous precepts doesn't require making vows before a guru or preceptor. You just need to silently think in your mind, "From now on, I will never kill again," or say, "From now on, I will never steal, never engage in sexual misconduct, never speak lies, divisive speech, harsh words, idle chatter, and not generate greed, harmful intent, or wrong views." You can uphold the 10 virtuous precepts anywhere by yourself. You don't necessarily have to receive them from a guru. If you don't have the ability to maintain this for a long time or during a certain time in a certain place, I will absolutely not kill. Taking vows this way, with limitations of place and time, or I won't kill certain sentient beings. I won't kill tigers, I won't kill dinosaurs, I won't kill whales, I won't kill the country's president, I won't kill the UN Secretary General. Making such aspirations yourself should also have merit, because if you don't kill, others won't criticize you either. I won't kill so-and-so. Making such aspirations is also very good. For example, with someone you don't get along with well, you say in front of them, "I won't kill you, I vow not to kill you." While arguing, making such a vow to them, they might hear it and think, "Isn't this like saying saying, I want to kill you, and get even angrier. This is virtuous action, truly. This merit is very great. Previously, when some gurus held Dharma assemblies in Tibet, they often required them, some particularly, for example, butchers who kill every day. If they kill yaks daily, they would have them vow not to kill snow lions or dinosaurs, not to kill such and such sentient beings they have no connection with at all. This way, from this perspective, having determination also has merit. For example, if I really have no opportunity to go abroad, then I won't kill American sentient beings. This is also acceptable. Of course, if you can make promises and vows before gurus, spiritual teachers, Buddha statues, sutras, stupas, and other representations of the three jewels, then the merit becomes even more remarkable. If conditions are sufficient before a guru, this behavior in Tibet, now in China, is also very good. Many people, when they meet a guru, if they make vows before the guru, on one hand, it's also a kind of reverence and dharma offering to the guru. On the other hand, through the guru's blessings, indeed, sometimes the power of the dharma is inconceivable. A while ago, I met someone who quit drugs. Previously, his drug addiction was extremely severe. When his addiction flared up, no matter what person in any place, any venue, if he didn't take drugs, he would immediately faint to the ground. But later, relying on various conditions, after coming to the academy, he quit drugs. After quitting drugs, for about half a year, he didn't have even a moment of such thoughts. He himself feels that truly, sometimes the power of the Dharma is inconceivable. I think previous bad behaviors are best given up before a guru. For example, those who previously particularly loved killing or lying people with various evil behaviors. Before a guru, those who love drinking alcohol, smoking, many evil things should be given up before some gurus. After giving them up, the merit becomes even more excellent. The merit is very great. So here it says, if done before a guru, it's of course even better. However, merely thinking blandly, I won't kill, is not sufficient. If you think by yourself, I won't kill, I won't do it, this definitely won't work. You must make such a firm resolve in your mind, no matter what, from now on I absolutely will not create negative karma. If there's a guru present, you should speak before the guru. Generally speaking, speaking aloud is very important. There was once a person who originally wanted to vow not to kill in his mind, but he particularly loved drinking alcohol. Then before the Dharma king, he said, I won't drink alcohol. He was afraid to say this, but ended up saying the wrong thing. He originally wanted to say, not kill, about drinking, but to the guru, he said, I won't drink alcohol. The guru said, good, 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 and gave him blessings. Oh, I said it wrong, I said it wrong, I said it. So sometimes giving up like this, before some gurus giving up one's previous worst behaviors, this is very important. Actually, this merit is indeed very great. If you just think in your mind about things like not killing, not stealing, just thinking slightly in your mind won't work. You should make vows. If you have a guru, before the guru, if you don't have a guru, it's best to do it before Buddha statues and sutras, or when you go to a monastery, you make vows yourself. Tibet has this very good custom. For example, if you're going to meet a guru or visit a monastery, you must make a vow. I'll recite 100,000 Vajrasattva mantras, I'll do such and such. When you go to Lhasa, wherever you go, it should be like this. But I see some other people are not like this. I must go to the Potala Palace to take photos, click, click, and then come back. Even Buddhists are like this. After you go, bringing back a photo is not really an important matter. You should go for yourself. For example, in our academy, many new lay practitioners come after coming. They take a few photos here and go back. They don't even have vows to recite 100,000 mantras. Then, if I can't give up meat in the future, I'll at least not order killing. Even one good deed, if you vow before an excellent object, I think it's very necessary. Once I was with some teachers and students. After finishing, each student and teacher made vows. After the lecture, each of them made vows to different degrees. Some said not to kill, some said not to lie. Everyone made vows according to their own capacity. Generally, monastics have basically already done these. For lay practitioners, they can't do all of them, just one or two. This also has great merit, because all our merit is accomplished only after practicing the 10 virtuous actions. It seems to be said in the Flower Ornament Sutra, birth at will among humans, and even the bliss of concentration in the highest heaven. The paths of Pratyeka Buddhas, Shravakas, and Buddhas are all accomplished through the 10 virtuous actions. This means that our happy rebirth at will among humans and all the happiness of the form and formless realms, even up to the meditation heavens, plus the transcendent merits of the paths of Pratyeka Buddhas, Shravakas, and Buddhas. What is the fundamental source of all these? It is practicing the 10 virtuous actions. Practicing the 10 virtuous actions is the most basic behavior for being a proper person. From the present perspective, it indeed has tremendous help for society and families. So we must have this kind of determination to practice the 10 virtuous actions. If lay practitioners truly cannot completely and permanently eliminate killing and other 10 negative actions, then you can also vow not to kill during January or April in a year. Here this is just representing killing. Any of the other 10 negative actions can be spoken of this way. If you really have no way to keep precepts forever, then can you do it for 1 year or can you do it for 3 years? If this also doesn't work, then during 1 year, during the particularly special miracle month of Buddha Shakyamuni, not kill April is the auspicious Sagadawa month of Buddha Shakyamuni's enlightenment and parinirvana. During that time, not creating negative karma, or June is the month when Buddha Shakyamuni turned the Dharma wheel. During that 1 month, not creating karma. Or September is the month when Buddha Shakyamuni descended from heaven. During this month, this is something we have in many places. This month is the miracle month. I'll try my best to release life and try not to do evil deeds. During several months of a year, or on the 15th and 30th of each month, and also the 10th, 25th, 27th, 8th, and other special holy days. These special holy days are mentioned in relevant sutras and treatises as having particularly great merit. In China also, often on the 8th and 10th of the 4th month, often practicing virtue, taking the 8 one-day precepts and so forth are all possible, not killing. Moreover, vowing not to kill for a year, a month, or a day will also bring immense benefits and has great merit. Long-term keeping of lay precepts and monastic vows, needless to say, has extremely great merit. Even if you ordain and practice virtue, but ultimately develop wrong views, break precepts and so forth, but temporarily upholding such virtuous dharma also has much merit. Recently I looked at the Tibetan Mahaparinirvana Sutra. The Tibetan Nirvana Sutra is not very complete, but I was reading it. It mentioned that some disciple asked the Buddha, "You knew early on that Bhikkhu Sunakata would develop wrong views toward the Buddha, and that he would clearly fall into hell. If so, why did you first permit him to ordain?" The Buddha replied, "Because if Bhikkhu Sunakata had not been permitted to ordain at that time, he would have become a layman, become an evil king, and his power would also be very strong. He would destroy the Dharma. In this way, the time falling into lower realms would be even longer. Although I knew he would finally develop wrong views and cause some damage to Buddhism, but because he ordained in the beginning, the conditions for him to create negative karma at that time were already eliminated. The conditions for him to destroy Buddhism at that time were already cut off. So, some people might say, since he finally developed wrong views and broke precepts, it would be better not to ordain early. This kind of statement is incorrect. Even if one ordains for just 1 day, receives precepts for 1 day. This merit definitely exists, so we must understand that even temporary precept taking has very great merit. Here it mentions a story from the Mula Sarvastivada Vinaya. There is a story. This story goes like this. In China, there is also this. The Tibetan story is basically the same. There was a son of an elder who went to a place. At dusk, he came before a celestial palace. Here, there was a Divas with 4 goddesses beside him, serving and making offerings to him, enjoying a perfect and happy life. At this time, this person was a bit thirsty. The god asked, "Do you want water? Do you want to bathe?" Later he agreed, then bathed in the celestial palace. They enjoyed a happy life throughout the entire night. As soon as dawn broke and the sun appeared, those 4 beautiful women all turned into black evil dogs on the burning iron ground. That god from before experienced various kinds of suffering from being killed, devoured, and so forth. Finally, when night came, he again returned to his original divine life.
At this time, the son of the elder asked these devas,
"What kind of karmic result is this?" He said, "If I tell you, you people of Jambudvipa have heavy wrong views, you might not believe, so I won't tell you." Later he said, "I saw it with my own eyes, how could I not believe?"
Then these devas told him a verse about karmic conditions.
This verse, its general content should be like this. In the past, during the day I harmed others' lives, at night I kept precepts and practiced diligently. Due to this condition, I was born in this place, now experiencing such good and evil karma. Due to this condition, reborn in this place, now already experiencing such karmic results of good and evil. When he spoke this verse, he still didn't understand. Later, he proceeded to explain, saying, "When I was once reborn in a village, every day I would start killing during the day. Then Venerable Katyayana asked me not to kill at night, to maintain pure precepts, and I had already agreed at that time. During the day, harming others' lives. At night, maintaining pure precepts and practicing virtue. Due to this condition, I am now reborn in such a solitary hell. During the day, suffering in a blazing iron chamber. When night comes, dwelling in infinite palaces, with 4 goddesses serving and attending, experiencing infinite happiness." So sometimes we think, in the human world now there are also karmic results quite similar to this solitary hell. I met a patient during the day. She had no illness at all, particularly healthy and happy, but when night came, she would have nightmares and start feeling pain, continuously tossing and turning, crying out in pain, extremely uncomfortable. I estimate this person might also have similar karma. There was another patient whose mood was very good in the morning. Everything was fine, but in afternoon his mood became irritable, his body felt bad, and he felt particularly fearful. So when we are in this world, if we use our wisdom and thinking to slowly analyze around us, whether in the external environment or within ourselves, many results of good and evil are constantly appearing and cycling, but many of us who don't understand karma don't believe this, thinking this happens by chance, it's absolutely impossible, but all have some kind of condition. So regarding these aspects, I think everyone should try to think that we cannot do evil deeds. Once we do evil deeds, the ripened results are particularly frightening. After we understand this principle, truly giving this kind of education to others is most important. The Buddha's education, actually the Buddha speaks truth, and those followers below convey this spirit. This is Buddhism, this is the Buddha's education. We should also be like this. First, we ourselves practice well, then try our best to pass this spirit to others, as mentioned in the meeting of father and son. Do not commit unlawful acts, practice virtuous conduct, and also encourage others to diligently practice all virtues. You yourself should not do bad deeds or evil acts. You must practice virtue, and you yourself, the spirit and behavior of practicing virtue, try your best to encourage those around you who have karmic connections to practice all virtues. Abandon evil doing, practice virtue well. This is truly where Buddhist doctrine and spirit lie. The so-called 10 virtuous actions refer to actually cutting off the 10 negative actions in practice and practicing virtuous dharma that counters negative karma. Everyone should know this. Now let's discuss what the 10 virtuous actions actually are. 3 bodily virtuous actions. First, not killing is stopping killing and protecting life, then releasing life, eating vegetarian food, and so forth. Not stealing means stopping taking what is not given, generous giving, offering above and giving below. When you have wealth, try your best to make offerings and give. And when making offerings and giving, don't have much showing off mentality. Some people, when they go to Buddha halls or make offerings somewhere, for example, 1,000 yuan, all spread out like playing cards, making offerings this way, going to Buddha halls, at the merit box, first separating all the money, like this, making themselves feel comfortable, I suppose. Not engaging in sexual misconduct means stopping sexual misconduct and keeping precepts purity of body and mind, being proper and in accordance with Dharma. This is not engaging in sexual misconduct. Then 4 verbal virtuous actions. Not lying means stopping falsehood, speaking truthful words, honest words, real words, not using divisive speech, stopping divisive language, resolving hatred, mediating disharmony, living in harmony. Not using harsh words means stopping harsh language, speaking pleasant words, gentle words, harmonious words, and so forth. Not using idle chatter, forbidding idle talk. Trying your best to recite diligently, often abandoning all kinds of random language. I see many practitioners meaningful words related to spreading Dharma and benefiting beings, and one's own practice can be spoken. What should be said can indeed be said. Normally, one should recite mantras, do recitations, or memorize, practice. This is very important. I see some Dharma friends, memorization is still very good. They definitely put in great effort. Normally, they probably don't have time to speak idle chatter. Otherwise, memorizing so many treatises would be impossible, and they memorize particularly well. Yesterday, the treasury of pith instructions, I thought they recited very well. Later they felt they didn't recite very well, broke off slightly in the middle. After coming down, several of them cried. I asked why they cried. Later, they said they didn't recite well and wasted my time. Actually, they recited very well. We also used to memorize before finishing memorization. The pressure was very great. After finishing memorization, that day we slept particularly well, feeling particularly relaxed in the heart, that kind of happy feeling. So I see many Dharma friends here, for example, like the root stanzas of the Middle Way and the treasury of pith instructions and other treatises like the Way of the Bodhisattva, not finishing speaking about all of them. Many treatises have already been memorized, definitely spending a very long time in effort. If they hadn't put in effort, possibly except for very few people, it's not so easy, indeed very good. I was listening in the process. Oh, since these people put effort into memorizing like this, then, in the process of memorizing, they will definitely contemplate its Dharma meaning. Then in the future, in this lifetime, some might forget after memorizing, but generally speaking, the impression is particularly deep. 20 years ago, treatises I memorized versus treatises I didn't memorize are completely different. Although for treatises I memorized, now I might not remember the words exactly as they were, but the content basically has a very deep impression. Now if I look at them again slightly, they immediately appear in my mind, so listening, contemplating, and practicing should be our happiest activities. 3 mental virtuous actions. Non-greed means stopping greed, being full of renunciation, contentment, and few desires. Non-harmful intent, cutting off harmful thoughts, cultivating beneficial thoughts. Loving kindness, compassion, bodhicitta, no wrong views, abandoning wrong views, relying on right views, view of emptiness, right view of cause and effect, and equanimity, and so forth. The ripening result of the 10 virtuous actions is rebirth in the corresponding 3 higher realms, the opposite of what we discussed before. The concordant causal result is loving to practice virtuous actions, life after life, and virtuous deeds also flourish increasingly. Actually, people who practice virtue can easily perform good deeds. If one's spiritual foundation is relatively good, it's very easy concordant experiential result. Stopping killing brings long life and few illnesses. Not stealing brings abundant resources and no thieves or enemies. Stopping sexual misconduct brings marital harmony and few enemies. Stopping lying brings praise and love from everyone. Stopping divisive speech brings respect from retinue and servants. Stopping harsh words means constantly hearing pleasant language. Stopping idle chatter brings powerful and trustworthy speech. Stopping greed means accomplishing anything as one wishes. Stopping harmful intent brings freedom from others' harm and damage. Stopping wrong views means constantly arising excellent views in one's continuum. Then discussing the environmental result. Environmental results ripen in the external environment exactly opposite to the results of the 10 negative actions before possessing perfect merit. Actually, after doing virtuous actions, everything becomes auspicious. If you do evil deeds, everything becomes inauspicious. This is emphasized not only in Buddhism, but I see other religions also emphasize this, like in the I Ching. Families that accumulate virtue will surely have extra blessings. People who accumulate virtuous dharma bring many blessings, and like in Taoist texts, the supreme exhortation of the response and retribution also says, when people can practice virtue, heaven bestows blessings upon them. If people practice virtuous dharma, heaven also grants you auspiciousness and happiness. So after we practice virtuous dharma, the entire environment, dharma protectors, gods, and people around us create many, many happy conditions for you. But if you practice evil deeds, many people and non-humans around you, including some environments, bring you inauspicious conditions. So practicing virtue is indeed very important for us, but I often feel, for good people, giving them some guidance makes it very easy. For evil people, no matter how you guide them, it might not work. In the Sutra of the Right Mindfulness of Dharma that I really like, there's a verse that says, good people practice virtue easily, evil people find practicing virtue difficult. For good people, practicing virtue is very easy. For evil people, practicing virtue is very difficult. Evil people create evil easily. Good people find doing evil difficult. For evil people, creating evil is very easy, but for good people, doing evil is very difficult. For truly virtuous people, asking them to do evil deeds, break precepts, or kill, no matter how you persuade them, they probably won't do it if it's an evil person. Asking them to drink alcohol, smoke, or do bad things, just giving them a little guidance from the side is enough. Nothing more is needed. Oh, if there are some evil deeds to do today, looking at their facial expression, it immediately changes. If it's a good person with relatively good spiritual foundation, when virtue is mentioned, they have this kind of diligent energy, they will cooperate with you, will follow your words. If their virtue is relatively abundant, asking them to do evil deeds becomes very difficult. So actually, people's karmic connections are different, indeed different. Then the effective result, any virtuous actions performed will begin to grow by leaps and bounds. Merit will continuously emerge. This is why some people now have everything go smoothly without effort. I see some people, including some students who study their past life, karma might be different. Whether taking exams or doing anything, everything goes particularly smoothly. Their usual grades aren't very good, but when exam time comes, everything goes particularly smoothly. Some people are usually very diligent and have good wisdom, but often things don't go smoothly, family doesn't go smoothly, nothing goes smoothly. This has a certain relationship with past lives. So, the right view of karmic cause and effect. Indeed, each of us should properly practice what should be practiced, visualize what should be visualized. After this, gradually, your view of good and evil cause and effect will become firm. Whatever you do, practicing virtue becomes very easy. If this view wavers uncertainly, I'm afraid even if you receive the highest empowerments or most supreme pith instructions today, they might not have permanent long-term effects on your continuum. So everyone should value the theory and practical cultivation of accepting and rejecting cause and effect. This deserves attention. Thank you.
Om